HipHopHumboldt.
What's good, y'all? Welcome to this episode of the HipHopHumboldt Podcast. It's always a blessing to do this work in the community, but let me tell you what, this is a real special one I got right now. In the HipHopHumboldt studio, I got with me, all of y'all know this dude. I'm telling you, every single person knows him out here, and I know a lot of y'all, if not every single person, has respect for him, has respect for his skills and what he's doing out here. I'm talking about the one and only Verge. What's up, Verge?
Yo, what's good, David? How you doing?
Hey, I'm good today, man. I'm real good today, man. It's real good to have you here. It's been a minute. It's been a little. It's been coming, for a little while.
Yeah.
We had to get it rolling and everything like that. But I'm glad to finally get you here for this podcast. You're one of those people where I feel like this community is going to be really interested in listening to your story.
Yeah.
And checking this podcast out. So I just want to say thank you, to you for giving me your time for the podcast.
Hey, much respect, man. You know what it is. It's all love, man. I was patiently waiting, dog. Like I was just like, I can't, man. Only thing I'm gonna do is wait for more episodes to come out because I've been listening.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I dropped back now, so I'm re-listening to everything. Just in case I missed anything, the little connections and stuff, because I've been out here since I was 14.
Okay.
So I'm 31 now. And
okay.
So I've been out here since I was 14. So like hearing B. Swizzlow's podcast and hearing like Mental Case, you know what I'm saying? Like hearing,
OGs.
Yeah, like hearing some of their podcasts and stuff, their episodes. The reason I went back and listened because I was like, all right, let me listen to like, they giving like little pieces of their story, like being at DTA or being at Fat Bowl before it was Fat Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Like little pieces of their stories like that. That's actually part of my story too. Like, cause I used to freestyle there, like in the back, like wherever, before I smoke weed or anything, I didn't hit no weed, nothing. I'd be chilling with all the OGs and just rap with them. Mm-hmm. And that's where I got good at freestyling, like,
okay,
just like being curious. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
And man, and I want to take a quick second to give a shout out to those homies, shout out to B. Swizzlow, shout out to Mental Case, Fat Bowl around here, man. See, that's the thing where, people need those kind of opportunities, and Fat Bowl did that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Fat Bowl set up a structure, a consistent event where people are like, okay, that's something going on. Let's go, freestyle. And it's, all kind of levels, at the Fat Bowl Cypher. You could come in there, just barely getting your feet wet with hip hop and with freestyling, down to, the legends, the masters, Knack One, Eli Fowler, Flo J. Simpson, you know what I mean? And then you get to be exposed to that.
Yeah.
To those OGs.
You don't realize how much these people have given of their life to hip hop and to grow it here. Because it's a plant just like everything else. It's a seed. You know what I'm saying? They let that seed get planted and they diligently took care of it and watched it sprout and letting it grow. And just now, you know what I'm saying? I would be willing to say that maybe just now that some of them are getting some of the fruit from that tree. It took that long. You know what I'm saying? I just said, I'm 31. You know what I'm saying? Been doing this since I was 14. And those cats have been doing it just as long or longer. You know what I'm saying? B. Swizzlow's been doing it before I was alive.
Yep. Unless I'm wrong for something, maybe 30 years plus or so, in the music, Yeah.
So, Johnny Angel has been doing it for 32 years. I met Johnny when I was 16.
Okay.
Just randomly freestyle. Like I was freestyling with one of my homies and Johnny pointed it out that like I was just grabbing words from the air. And I was like, that's kind of how I do it. I visualize the words and like honestly it don't even feel like it's me some of the time. On one of the Kendrick Lamar albums, To Pimp a Butterfly, when he has the talk with Pac at the end. So he's talking about like, sometimes when I write and when I rap, it don't even feel like it's me. It feel like it's the dead homies coming through me. and need to speak on something that they didn't get to speak on. So it's the same thing. It really does feel like that. Like, not lying, not stretching, anything. You see it when I'm up in there freestyling. Bro, it don't even feel like I'm in the building. Like, let alone my body.
You lift it. Your ancestors just channeling through you, man.
Yeah, that's the only way I can put it. That's the only way because I feel it. You know what I'm saying? I feel it. Like, there's been so many times in my life that I've had hard times, and music has always made it a simpler process for me to actually bring cohesive thought to it and coherent thoughts to it. And even in some aspect, now that I'm older, it's cathartic to write my music and then listen back, because I'm not only writing it for everybody else and all these other things in hopes that it helps somebody else. I'm mainly writing it for myself. Like, straight up, it don't get written down if I'm not relating to it or if it's not my story. It doesn't, and even if it did get written down, you ain't gonna hear it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just how I stay with my music. Is I learn from it, and I'm growing through it. You know what I'm saying? This whole I want to say 6 years of doing different projects and stuff have all been me trying absolutely to be honest with myself and my process as a human being. Now, everything else that you want to put on it, labels and everything like that. Like, so if it was an example, me being a black man in Humboldt, you know what I'm saying? Me being a black man in the Pacific Northwest, you know what I'm saying? Like, me being a rapper, me being Puerto Rican, black, Mexican, what that feels like, being in that household, you know what I'm saying, with all those different types of people and all those different cultures blending, you know what I'm saying, or not blending, you know what I'm saying, how that feels. So
it's authentic.
Yeah, authentically me. Yeah.
That's the best kind of music, man. That's what really cuts through and resonates with people, because people feel that. Yeah,
no, mad respect. Thanks for even, you know what I'm saying, being able to say that, because I know that just by you being able to say that, you truly believe that. You know what I'm saying? So it's, yeah, man. I mean, I guess my biggest lesson that I've learned is to shut the fuck up sometimes and listen to the elders. Because when I was younger, I used to ask a bunch of questions, and they always said that was good. It is. But it's also good to shut the fuck up and listen. Because if you're asking all these questions and you ain't never letting anybody get a word in edgewise, you're not learning anything.
Right.
You're just taking in a bunch of random stuff that you can't do anything with. Information is good, but also information cast onto you in abundance is useless.
Yep, if you're not processing it, soaking it in, implementing it, yeah. No, that's facts. Yeah. Hey, fam, I already got a feeling this is going to be a deep one. This is going to be a good one,
Yeah.
So I want to make sure, how the podcast usually goes, I don't have a format. It's open-ended. And so, what I typically do is just try to move the timeline forward of, when you started doing, or even before you started doing music and what it was like for you. And then, what got you into music and, where you were at those different times and the progress within yourself and with your music, with your musical styles and everything. You and I have known each other for a little bit and, know a lot of mutual friends. And so, I've heard different things like, shout out to the homie Maniac.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Maniac. Maniac 707.
Yeah.
Oh.
They holding it down, you know what I'm saying? And even from down there where they at right now in somewhere near like Petaluma or something like that, like still coming up here, doing shows. They did a show up here last year. I was supporting that show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's a beautiful thing to see. No matter, even if you're not in the area anymore, Humboldt has this draw. and brings you back. You know, and the music scene, the hip hop scene up here is definitely beautiful enough for people to want to come back and do shows. So shout out to Maniac, but Maniac showed me some pictures. I think it was like last year of y'all in grade school. You know what I mean? Like high school. I think it was.
Yeah,
you
know?
It
was in high school. Yeah, I just pulled those up. It was like 2009, and we used to every lunchtime. We would go and we would go like a couple alleys away, and we would just freestyle with each other. And sometimes we had like written stuff and things like that. But we had a couple homies. We had their cousin come and like beatbox, or there was another dude who beatboxed for us, and sometimes he'd rap too. And we used to just like rap about anything, everything, just kind of get the feeling off. And I remember they were trying to get me to go to the Mars Project.
Yeah. Shout out to Corey at the Mars Project.
Yeah, they was trying to get me to go to the Mars Project for the longest time, and like they know this, but not everybody knows this. But like my mom had brain problems. You know what I'm saying? Since she was like 30-something years old. She got in a fight one time, and the lady like was bigger than her, and so she slammed her on the ground, and then she hit her head. And so then when she went to the hospital, they do the scans, right? And when they did the scan, they found 5 brain aneurysms. And so at that time, my mom, like at the time, me and Maniac met, and her cousin and like a bunch of people, and I also thought I was going to go to the military, all kinds of stuff, was unraveling. My mom was having brain surgeries. And so she had 13 brain surgeries because they messed up like 4 or 5 of them. And so they had to go correct them and stuff like that. And then the 4 or 5 that she had to get done to like fix her problem. So they went in, they cut the middle of her face and peeled down half her face to get to the part to cut her skull open. And then they cut her skull open and went into the back of her brain and took out 4 brain aneurysms. But they couldn't take out the 5th one because it was too close to her brainstem. So she had a 50-50 chance of being a vegetable or not.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's delicate work.
Yeah. And so I was being a teenager and being like, I'm fine. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. Like, whatever, dog. Like, let's do this. I was fighting a lot. Like, I fought a lot of the people from, you know, wood shop, workshop, metal shop, all the, let's just be honest, all the white people that was like somewhat racist towards me and stuff, call me the N-word and all that stuff. So instead of just letting it wash off my back because of all the things I was going through, I wasn't talking to my therapist about. I would just talk to my therapist about shit I went through as a little kid and ignore everything that's going on right now because you ain't got to worry about it. I can handle it. And so I didn't even talk to Maniac about it. I just like kept it all in, and they kept reaching out to me. Both of them, their cousin, them, they was reaching out to me. Yo, come see me. Come to this show. Come to this. And I was like, all right, I will. But I never did. And I remember when we was a little bit older, I apologized and stuff. And I didn't even get to apologize until now, really, that like I wasn't being honest with my feelings and how I was feeling about my mom. And I was so lost and scared that I was going to lose my mom, because I also kind of jumping around a little bit here, but
no, you good.
I went from like my mom's care from when I was a baby until I was 4 years old. And then I was going to go into the foster care system, but then my grandma took me in and stuff. And so I was with my grandma from 4 to 10, and then I went into foster care. And I was there for 3 years. And then after that, my mom came in and like won the case and stayed off drugs and all these things. And so then I got to be with my mom. So at that point, I had only really been around my mom for like 3 years. You You know what I'm saying? When I'm like meeting everybody. So my mom was kind of like a friend and not really like a mom yet. And so hadn't dealt with that mentally or anything like that. So I'm kind of just going through the motions, trying to figure out everything. And that's kind of how it went with music, pretty much all the way until I was in my 20s. I kind of just did it when I could. And sometimes I would do little projects here and there and stuff like that. But I used, just like everybody else, or not everybody else, but for me, I rapped about like, money, girls, drugs, all the things that was popular because I wanted to be popular. I wanted to pop, right? Like everybody else, right? And so I was rapping about everything. I listened to a couple of my songs in the past, and I was just like, "What am I rapping about?"
Just like, younger man days.
Yeah, I was like, and I had so much confidence like behind it too. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I believe this shit that I'm saying. Like, I actually believe it, like wholeheartedly. Like, I'm in it to the fullest extent, and that tripped me out listening to it. But it helped me grow as a person, and for a long time, I carried this kind of chip on my shoulder that like you got to be tough, and you can't never let anybody get over on you, and you can't never let anybody in either. Mm-hmm. Some of the shit you've gone through, you're gonna take it to the grave. But with that mentality, it creates health problems, and it creates mental problems, and all these different stressors. So, when I met Maniac, I was doing okay for a little bit, and then it all went like downhill. And so I kind of pushed everybody away, like all at the same time. My sisters, everybody. My older sisters one of my older sisters had to adopt me because my mom mentally couldn't make like sound decisions for me and stuff. So when I was like 17, my sister had to adopt me and take custody over me. And then that's when I kind of like, I never really messed with weed. I never really messed with, I guess I messed with alcohol when I was younger, but I didn't mess with hallucinogens or anything like that until I got into my sister's house. And then I was like, oh shit, cigarettes, weed, all the hallucinogens. I did coke probably for like a year straight. And then one day, I tried to eat my favorite food, it's enchiladas. And my grandma would make it for me every year on my birthday. And so then my sister took over that tradition as we got older. And so she made me enchiladas, and I turned 20, and I like go to eat it. And because I was doing all that shit with the drugs or whatever, when I went to eat it, it felt like I was chewing on glass.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And I got pissed, threw the plate across the wall, threw the whole casserole dish on the wall, freaked out.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Bloody knuckles. And then I quit coke that day. I ain't go through no withdrawals or anything because I was so mad about the food.
that was the final straw.
Yeah, you can't take enchiladas. Yeah, no, you can't take my enchiladas away from me. Yeah. Yeah. So, but that's kind of that was that period of my life and why I kind of kept my distance from everybody. But it's much respect to Maniac and much respect to her cousin, or their cousin, sorry. But
I bet they're going to be thankful to hear this on the pod too. If I don't know if you've ever, like let them know.
Yeah, I try to, but they're busy. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really know what other people got going on in their life. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't close like that. You know what I'm saying? So some people just got things going on in their life that they try to keep separate. And sometimes with other cats, like they keep a business chat and a personal profile on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. So, it could just be miscommunication You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Like I'm hitting up the business chat with not business stuff.
Right.
So it ain't gonna go. It's not gonna even come through. You know what I'm saying? So, but
it's all about the right time,
Exactly.
But now they're gonna hear it on the pod, so it's all good.
Yeah, exactly. So.
That's interesting, man. So I'm not trying to backtrack you, of course, but I want to make sure we get it all on the pod because it's important. So you said you grew up in Orange County.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Santana. 1118 South Spruce, in Santa Ana, California, and that was my grandma's old address, and her and my cousins were really tough people. My grandma was just like, she was from New Orleans, and so she was raised a whole different way than how people are raised out here. And so, like, you get your ass whooped for, like, everything, like, almost everything. And, like, I was beat. Like, I was abused as a child, for sure. And, like, to get really personal, the people in my life that I trusted the most are the ones who hurt me the most. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I was trying to grow up and trying to find solid ground for a foundation, as every child does. And I was sexually assaulted from 4 to 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? And then I went into the foster care system. So it was like, it's also like mind games too. You know what I'm saying? To where that right there was talked about as a game. You know what I'm saying? It was also like mind control type shit. If you tell anybody, you gonna be in trouble. And this, that, and the third. And in the 90s, it was different, saying, you know what I'm saying, saying the F word and stuff. You know which one? Not fuck, but the other one. And talk about someone who's gay. You know what I'm saying? And so if you was gay in the neighborhood where I was from, all bad.
Yeah.
All bad. And so I was in the neighborhood it was primarily safe. Like, there was no gang over the neighborhood. You went a couple streets over this way or a couple streets over that way, and there was different people, different folks, you know what I'm saying? And so a lot of Crips, a lot of Bloods, and then a lot of other, like, Mexican gangs and stuff. And so that's all I saw. And that was an escape for me. So I saw a lot of people get hurt. I saw many people get killed. I saw police just taking full advantage of their badge, taking full advantage. They're using it like a shield. Instead of shielding and protecting the people who need it, they use that shield to cover their ass.
Right.
And so I saw a lot of police brutality. Saw a lot of shit that I can't really say.
Right.
And I just grew up different because when I was young and impressionable, my mom and my grandma and everybody was super religious. And one thing that I did take to heart was the golden rule. Treat others how you would want to be treated, or do unto others what you would have them do unto you. Matthew 7:12. So I kept that in my mind and burned it in the back of my skull, in the back of my eyelids, every time I closed my eyes, because I remember we had to memorize it for like something at church. And so I burned it into the back of my eyelids. So every time I close my eyelids, I'm truthful. And I got to treat everybody around me like I want to be treated. And I'm looking around me and I'm like, well, my aunt's beating the shit out of her sons. You know what I'm saying? My grandma's beating the shit out of me. my mom is like always on drugs and never coming around. Does she want to be treated that way? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so eventually I developed this mentality that was the opposite of everything I saw in my household. I was like, I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to smoke. I'm going to be radically religious. And so that didn't last very long because I'm a little kid. You know what I'm saying? So I had that thought, and it was a good thought, but it didn't save me yet because I wasn't out the hood. I'm still in the hood. So you got to survive when you in the hood. And you ain't going to survive by just saying, Jesus got me. You know what I'm saying? You could say that Jesus got you. Your grandma could say that Jesus got you. But who really got you is the person with the gun up against your forehead.
Right.
So a lot of the time nowadays that I'm an adult and everything, I just keep my mouth shut, man. Because I done really been through what all these cats be bragging about and think it's cool and stuff. And like bragging on the mic and stuff like that. Why would I do that to myself? To bring it all back up? I'm good. That wasn't a good thing to go through. You have to realize that. In my opinion, it's not a good thing to go through that as a child, to have to hold a gun and fight for your life on a daily basis. It's not a good thing. So stop portraying it like it is. Now, if you just portraying it as in this is daily life, we good. I don't have a problem with that. I don't even have a problem if you are faking it. But the thing about it is be honest with yourself, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, be honest with yourself. Because I really went through some crazy shit. Seen people pull up in a black van and grab a girl, put a shotgun to her head and put her in the van and drive off. Girl never seen again. Mm-hmm. Like real life. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear that shit on the news. Some of the crazy shit that we go through as people is not televised. I seen people killed, actually killed, like gone. A couple seconds ago, I was talking to him about what Starburst he liked. And now he gone. And now I got an image of someone's head blown off in my brain, and I'm only 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Walking around with a 38 stub. You know what I'm saying? I'm 8. The fuck I'm walking around with a pistol for? You know what I'm saying? It's because all the people around me said that shit was good. That's what you're supposed to do. They know nothing else. You know what I'm saying? Or is it actually that they choose to not believe in anything else? You're responsible for your own choices. So if you kill somebody, you should accept that you killed somebody. Be honest with yourself. Now, when you say life is hard, what are you going to do about it? You know what I'm saying? Life is fucking hard. I told you I'm on three days of all liquids because of my pancreas. What am I doing about it? I decided to go on all liquids for 3 days. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Took health into my own hands. The doctor's going to do the same shit except for give me a banana bag as well full of IV. You know what I'm saying? That shit could probably kill you as well. Mm-hmm. And they ain't going to tell you. Controversial, I get it. But it's what I believe. I'm going to stand by my beliefs. I'll get the consequences from my belief and from what I say and what I do. So, yeah, when I grew up in a crazy ass neighborhood.
And that was down in Santa Ana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like, I went back when I was 23 or something like that. Oh, bro, it's like suburbs. Mm-hmm. It's like damn near suburbs. Like, Starbucks and not Jitter Beans, but there's another one, Dunkin' Donuts. Mm-hmm. And like, I was like, whoa, gentrified. Mm-hmm. Okay. Like, they had to make it nice for the white people.
Yep.
Like, okay, because so-and-so was scared to walk down the street. Or because what I came from was, cats riding by on lowrider bikes. My grandma's house used to be the drive-by house. So it used to be the stray corner. So on one end of my grandma's house, there would be stray bullets coming through the house. It didn't happen all the time, but it happened often enough for us to know that the safest spot that you go to when a drive-by is happening is under your windowsill because of those 3 pieces of 2x4 that could save your fucking life. We was little ass kids and we knew that. Yeah. Some people could live their whole life and not know that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, it was Santa Ana, Orange County, and I lived there until I was 10 years old. And then I moved to, I think it was Garden Grove and Riverside for a little bit. And that was like through foster care. And then like a boys' home or something like that. And when I lived in those places, I had it. At the time when you're in it, you don't know that it's bad. Because you just living.
That's all you know.
You surviving. You know what I'm saying? So, like, let me backtrack just for a second here. My cousins told me one time that I wouldn't amount to shit and that I have to give them my food because I'm smaller than them. And so I didn't give it to them. So I got my ass whooped by them. They beat me up. And so the next day, before they could do anything, I went to my little brothers and sisters. I noticed my little brother and sister didn't have food because my cousins took their food. So I gave them my food. And then they sitting there looking at me when I had dog food and shit. I'm feeding my grandma's dog. And they're like, eat it, nigga. And I was like, nah. And they start laughing. So I start laughing, you know what I'm saying? Nervous reaction and stuff. And they was like, no, we serious. Eat it. And so like I ate like a spoonful. I hadn't eaten in like 4 days. So that shit felt and tasted good. So I start eating it. And then every day for the next 6 months after that, I ate dog food. In my grandma's dog house with her dog. I split it with him and just gave my food to my brothers and sisters. So when I eventually moved to, this is back to when I'm 10 now, when I moved out and went to foster care and stuff like that, even though those people were shitty sometimes, bro, I mean, I ate a moldy quesadilla and I was happy about it. Like real struggle. You know what I'm saying? And I was happy about it. And I remember, that's why there's tears coming down my face. You know? That's why there's tears about to come out. Because I remember the happiness and the joy that I had just to be able to be happy that I had anything other than dog food on my plate. So I ate that shit. I told her it had mold in it. And she was like, well, we don't have anything else. And I was like, I got you. That's okay. And she was like, don't eat it. And I was like, fuck that. I'm not wasting food. I'm about to eat this. And I ate it. And I loved every minute of it. Because I was grateful for anything that this lady would give me. So when I got to be, 12, I would say from 10, 11, 12, 13, I just got more and more grateful for the people around me. And I kept a mental note of all the bad shit they did to me. Because I was like, I'm never going to do this shit to anybody. Not ever. I'm going to try my damnedest to never do this shit or make anybody feel how you just made me feel as a little kid. Because I don't think people really understand what you say to a child and what you do to a child when they're learning like that has a big impact on how they're going to be an adult. When they're an adult, they're going to remember that shit, or they're going to block out whole years of their life because of what you just did to them. Mm-hmm. So I'm grateful for the people in my life nowadays, because I've had a crazy ass life and it's still not over. I'm still having health issues and everything like that, but I still try and keep a mental process of everything's gonna be okay. Even if it's not okay, I got people that actually love me. So even through the hard times or whatever the fuck, even through the hard times, somebody gonna be there and hold my hand through it. And so I hold fast to all those people that truly give a fuck about me. And I make sure to give a fuck about them. Because that's what it is at the end of the day. You could say flags, you could say race, you could say gender, you could say religion. At the end of the day, whatever that other person is that's holding your hand, that's what matters. Is a hand holding your hand. That's truly what matters to me. I'm sorry if I got off subject.
Nah, you good, fam. Yeah. That's all real talk, man. That's, that's a lot of trauma that you went through. You know, that a lot of people. I'm really glad too that, especially up in this kind of a community, that some of the people around here are even going to get to hear this, to let them know like what situations are like out there, because a lot of people around here, they have no clue. They have absolutely no clue or understanding what that's like. Yeah. And that's not me, looking down on anybody or nothing like that. I'm just saying, like the struggle is real out there for certain people in certain situations, and you don't really realize how good you have it sometimes until you see that, and it puts it into perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but I'm just personally, just between me and you, I'm just really glad to see you, have overcome a lot of it. It feels like to me, from what I've known from you, you don't act, you like you said, you told yourself, this is how I'm not going to do people. And I feel like that's how you treat people. Yeah. You're not like that. Yeah. So that's power and that's strength and that's discipline in your own self and in your own mind to not replicate those patterns that you were subjected to. Yeah. So I got a lot of respect for you for that.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. It's a lot of, I've been in therapy, in and out of therapy since I was 6 years old, for many different reasons. But lately, I've been honest with my therapist. So like I actually tell her what the fuck's going on in my head and in daily life and what I'm struggling with. And you know how they say hindsight's 20/20. If I would have been honest when I was like 20 years old, maybe I wouldn't have went through all the shit that I went through all through my 20s. But I had to go through it. You know what I'm saying? To come to this point. Because now I'm more conscious of my movements, and what I say and what I do around other people. Because I'm like, shit, well, I just told my therapist this, that, and the third. And this is kind of connected to what I'm going through right now. So I need to really pay attention to that. So let me share with you one thing she taught me. When you feel insecure or you feel scared or even you have a body pain, you can use, I think it's called the acronym, PAIN. Pay attention inside now. And try and source where it's coming from. Close your eyes, breathe, and try and really feel where that's coming from. And that'll 9 times out of 10 help you figure out the problem or the thought or the situation that you're putting yourself in or that someone put you in, so that you could actually have a more healthy thought and a positive outlook on how to get out of it. Mm. So that helped me.
That's good insight. Hopefully, hey, that's good therapy right there. That's the type of stuff that people pay for. Thank you for even just putting that out there, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I just want to help people. I start with the intention of helping myself. And then if that doesn't give me enough to write off of, I think of the intention of helping my son. Mm. And if that also doesn't help, I think of the intention of helping a close friend. And those are just 3 ways of trying to, get the creative juices flowing and stuff like that, so I can write music. But most of the time I'm 10 steps back. I can't write it down fast enough. So I just hit record on my phone and just listen to it over and over again. And I'm like, okay, I like this part. This was just some freestyle stuff that I put in there or whatever for filler. But most of the time, I still have that same mentality. Treat others how you would want to be treated. And so I'm like, talk to others how you would want to be talked to. All right. That doesn't necessarily mean be nice. That doesn't necessarily be mean. You know what I'm saying? But what I learned is the greatest idea, this kind of like a manipulation tactic, right? Is people think that they appreciate the idea if they think they thought of it themselves. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They'll listen, right. Finally. So if you could then attach a very vague understanding of the world to your lyrics and then add your story, most people could relate.
That's how it's done, yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you put your intention and your actual sacrifice of your time and your energy within there and take out the manipulation, all you have is your true self. Mm. And so that's why some of my stuff, I'm going to say this because I haven't heard it from anybody else, but I'm going to say this. Some of my shit is hard to listen to because I'm going through my trauma like a catalog. Mm. Like reading it off to you. And I even tell you to breathe in one of my songs, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I go through a whole breathing exercise through the whole song. Because I know that this shit is hard to hear. But it's also hard to grow through it. So I'm trying to prepare you as the listener, because obviously I put it in the intention to be listened to if I put it on Spotify and all the other places. I had an intent for it to be listened to. So I'm also not going to skimp on any part of the editing process or the writing process to then make myself feel superior. I'm not going to do that to the people. I want you to believe that you're the same as me, because you are. Because some people don't believe that. Some people don't believe in themselves. Don't believe they can get out of suicide. That's why I wrote the poem when I wrote it out of me going through suicide and contemplating it. And I was like, okay, well, I cannot release this until I get out of this place mentally. Because it's not going to create catharsis for anybody if I'm still in this place.
Really authentic, man. And that's why I know anytime I'm hearing you freestyle or the music that you drop, you know, the authenticity, like I said, man, that really resonates with people. And that's how people connect, you know? And so that's one of the main things when I hear your music, you know, not even just through your words, but how you're singing. Because you, on your music, man, you're not just, you know, I heard you freestyle, I've heard you rap, but you also sing too. You know, it all comes from your heart, you know? And I mean, it's just something really special that I know when other people are hearing it, they're hearing the same thing. You know, they're hearing that pain that you suffered through, you know, and that you know, still suffered through as you're, like you said, getting it out.
Yeah.
You know, like it's all there, man. And that's something on another level that, you know, not everybody can do. Not everybody's doing, not everybody can do. A lot of the times people are making art where, you know, like you were saying earlier, they're just trying to be cool. Right? You know what I mean? But it's on a whole nother level when you can give your authentic self and your story and really tap in to the energy, go back in time and tap into that energy and release it. And it really is catharsis. And I really feel like you're saying, like, I feel like it's some therapy for you to do it, you know, to just let it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. To be able to release it is also giving me, it's boosting my confidence. You know what I'm saying? It's reassuring myself that I can do other things and that I'm more than my trauma. You know what I'm saying? It takes you out of the seat of being a victim to being a survivor. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, once you're a survivor, shit, the only thing you got to do now is put your captain hat on and ride the waves. And so that's why this album that I just dropped, Verge, Folk and Friends, that's with Sequoia Folk, Ruffy, and man, I like, it's just
got Rye on there.
Yeah, no, I'm laughing because I'm so proud of it. Like it's just a response because I got Rye Stone on there, I got Sequoia Folk, Ruffy, and ATG. Damn, I know I'm forgetting somebody. Dre Meza. Like,
shout out to the homies.
Yeah, it's
Shady Manila.
Yeah, Shady Manila Records, man, and my mom's on there too. Like, you know what I'm saying, momentarily, we had like 15 minutes, but you know what I'm saying, we got to what we really needed, the meat and potatoes of what she was saying, and we was like, all right, we only need this little short phrase, but I kept the rest of it, so look forward to my mom being on more projects.
There we go.
But it was so, I had to, not in a disrespectful way, but I had to get this one out the way. I mean it in a really good way, as in I had to move my shit into the apartment first. You know what I'm saying? And notice that, okay, this is my stereo. Okay, this is my TV. All right, this is what I'm going to eat tonight. I had to really stage the house, essentially. You know what I'm saying? Before I go ahead and get comfortable and live in it. You know, make your bed. You made your bed, now go lay in it. So that's essentially what I was doing with this whole album, because I was like, I haven't released anything on all streaming platforms. This is the first project, and I just dropped the whole project. I dropped Ego Pain earlier in the year, at the beginning of the year, and then I put Ego Pain as the start of this album. Those are the only two projects that I've released on all streaming platforms. I have stuff on SoundCloud, Verge 93 at SoundCloud. That's like When Francis Made Friends. That's a little album that I made pretty much, it was like a month after I was homeless. And I bought everything that I thought I need for the studio and stuff. So I bought everything. And I couldn't wait. Like, I had like 6 or 7 beats or something from the homies and stuff, and I was like, all right, let's get it. Like, I was hungry, you know what I'm saying? And that's not even a pun. I was like, yeah. So I was just so grateful to finally be in a place and not be like in all this like aggression and just like confusing thoughts and people feeling like they're not worth anything and all this stuff. I will say that I grew a lot as a person being around other people who were homeless, right? And I also met some of the most beautiful people when I was homeless. And I think that people take that shit for advantage as well. Is that you be walking past someone who can help you out with life right now just because they don't smell good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I would listen to them all day. For the most part, when I have seizures, my legs don't work and shit. So I couldn't move anyway. But eventually I willingly stayed and would listen to people's stories, you know what I'm saying? And would listen to people's struggles and everything. And eventually they start calling me the golden child because I would just talk to everybody. Like, I won't even put a percentage on it, but in my opinion, in my experience, all they really wanted was someone to listen to them and treat them as a fucking human.
Right.
That's it. They just want someone to have a conversation with. They didn't even want your money.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many times I was homeless, I qualified for state disability and all that, and still didn't get it? And all these cats at the homeless shelter put their money together to get me some vegan food because I was vegan. They had like $10. You know what I'm saying? Other cat had $2. Other cat had $2. You know what I'm saying? They put their last money, sometimes coins, to get me some food, make sure I'm fed. Gave me clothes. Gave me a ride to job interviews and stuff. No gas money. Living out their car. Bro, I'm telling you. Sometimes some of the best dressed people can be the worst people for you.
Mm-hmm. Facts. Yep.
Yeah. I had people share a burrito with me, you know what I'm saying? They ain't got nothing. Neither one of us got nothing. They cut their burrito in half and share it with me. That's amazing. If you would just only take the time to truly be grateful for these people around you. It don't matter how they look or how they smell. Sometimes they asking for help because they don't know what else to do.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are struggling with mental health. So they probably didn't even make the sign. Some stories I've been a part of or whatever, I made the sign for them because they couldn't even bring a thought. I walked them to the corner, held the sign up in their hands, and then they stayed there. Some people don't have the capacity to be like, oh, I could go get a job if he could stand there for 8 hours, blah, blah, blah. Bro, what you mean? That's all he can do is stand there for 8 hours. And then someone has to come and grab him or her or them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why I make music the way I make music, just to bring it all roundabout, is because I really want people to listen. I want you to listen to everybody. Not just your own fucking echo or whatever, and not just your homies. You know what I'm saying? Think outside your little box. Because there's more humans out there. You ain't never going to get to eat dragon fruit if you're staying in the apple orchard.
Right. That's a bar. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. And a lot of people don't get that, you know? And this society treats homeless people horribly, man. And I hate that.
Yeah.
You know, I talk about it on the podcast before, but, you know, I've had homeless people in my family. My uncle, you know, I'll probably never see him again. He's been homeless for the last like 15, close to 20 years, and living, you know, homeless down in LA. And, you know, and they've been doing those sweeps. Yeah. And, you know, nobody can find him. I'll probably never hear from him ever again. He might be alive, he might not be. But when I think about how people, society, but people treat the homeless, it does more than, break my heart. It makes me angry. It brings up a lot of emotions because those are human beings.
Yeah.
And they may be, like you said, you may be walking by somebody that has the wisdom that would really change and impact your life in a positive way, but because of whether they look like, what their situation is, you just, discard them and walk and continue walking.
Yeah.
And that's just horrible. And I completely agree, because I know for a fact what you said is true when you said sometimes homeless people just want somebody to show them some humanity.
Yep.
Because that's what the situation is not allowing for them. Is they're not being shown the same humanity that you may be being shown in your situation. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we're all humans.
Yeah.
So to not show a humanity, that's like, that's a whole nother level of the mentality, whether it's in this country or whatever systems that may be, like that stuff is wrong, man. And I'm really thankful that you brought that up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And made yourself vulnerable to tell about those situations, because it's not easy, you know what I mean? Because people will immediately start to think a certain way, you know what I mean? People with that bad mind, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it takes people giving their real story and from your perspective, because I've heard people say that, a lot of the times people, homeless people just want somebody to listen to them and just like talk to them like they're a human being. And you won't know that until you've heard that, and then you have a chance in your life to change whatever mindset you may have and actually do better by homeless people. Yeah. Now, that's not to say that, you're just going to sit there and, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not expecting anybody to just go seek out, situations like that. But hey, this is Humboldt County and there's homeless people around here. And if you walk through, downtown Eureka, you're going to be, walking by some homeless people. Oh, yeah. Show that person some humanity. Like you talked about the golden rule, like you would want shown to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you do unto others what you would have them do unto you. Like, you don't go around smacking people, do you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Why? Because that shit could happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's the whole, we learn from consequences. You know what I'm saying? We all taught that since we was little babies. And so, if you want people walking past you and ignoring you, keep doing it.
Right.
Because eventually it will happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably going to happen to you in some obscure way that you don't even notice the lesson. It's probably going to happen to you at a lunch meeting. Or your boss. It's not going to listen to you. Walk straight past you. The universe will get to you even in a box. Even when you hiding in a box. You want to know how I know that? Is because I spent my life in a box before. When I was 13 years old, they separated me from my brother and stuff. So I was punching the wall in my my little room. I had like a little cottage room and stuff. So I'm punching the wall. Half the wall was brick. All right, so I'm just punching it. I dislocated both my pinkies. And there's just blood dripping down my hands. Took me out and they called me... I forgot what they called me, but basically it meant insane or whatever. They called me crazy and all kinds of other words. They wrapped my hands and then they put me in this padded room, right? So they put me in this padded room and the light flickered on and off and stuff like that. So it's freaking me the fuck out. I think I was 12, almost 13. So the light was freaking me out. So I just told them, like, come change the light bulb. It was a fully padded room. There was a door, and then it had the little pane of glass about this big, about big as your hand. And then it had the wires through it, you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And then it had a slot for them to put food through.
Mm.
And I wasn't in juvenile hall or anything, not at that time anyway. And they turned the light off.
Mm.
And so the only light I saw was through the hallway, shining through that window. It's just a little rectangle of light in the middle of the room. So I'm sitting there, like, repeating my favorite rap lyrics. You know what I'm saying? And most of it, I don't remember it now, forgive me, but most of it was Dear Mama. Because I was fucking scared. And all the shit I had to, all the things that I had to deal with up to that point were coming to a head. And like therapists are talking to me about like being molested and this is what happened to you and you were raped. And I was like, I wasn't raped. I'm not no gay. Like, you know what I'm saying? And like because where I come from, it was extremely homophobic and stuff. And at that time, you know what I'm saying? And so I was like, nah, like only women get raped. Like only, you know what I'm saying? Obviously it was B word, whatever. But it was like, I freaked out in my mind. And I was like, no, like you can't tell me none of this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm freaking out in my mind and now I'm in this darkness. And I only see this little square light. So the first day I stayed in the square light. Second day I went away from the light. Third day I went further away from the light. Eventually I told him to turn the hallway light off because it was distracting me. I sat in the darkness and let all my anxieties come to me. And it was terrifying. It almost felt like you could physically feel somebody touching you and about to pull you deeper into the darkness. But after, I think I was in there for 3 months, they only take me out to go get a shower, brush my teeth, and then I could eat with some people sometimes. They put me back in there because they consider me a danger to other people. No shoes, no nothing. So I'm in there with, just basic pajamas, basically. And I go back in there every day. I'm in the darkness. I let all my anxieties come. Terrifying, crippling. I'm on the floor in the fetal position. By the time that they came back to let me out of that room, my hands had healed. And my mind had healed from the trauma before. Now, I ain't gonna lie and say that I healed all of it, because obviously I was only 13, so I didn't even have the awareness yet. But I let the darkness come in and teach me a lesson. And that lesson was, even though you're alone in the darkness, all those anxieties and all those thoughts of those people coming back are made up. And they're not going to get you. They're not in this room with you. So that allowed me to stand up in the darkness and be brave in the darkness. Pray in the darkness. Release in the darkness. So that I may pray again in the light and accept all those things in the light. Because all those anxieties and those fears are really everything that you're experiencing on a day-to-day, and you put it in the back of your mind, and when the light turns off and you quiet your thoughts, they come back. We run away majority of the time. We ignore most of the things that make us MCs, most of the things that make us people, most of the things that make us men, women, children. We ignore a lot of it because we just get caught up in the rat race. And then in the darkness, all those anxieties and impure thoughts and all the prayers and everything come into your head and want to take control because you don't spend enough time balanced in the darkness, in my opinion.
That's real talk.
That's what I learned. And so I'm just grateful for that time. Oh, it's fucking horrible. In the moment, it was horrible. But at the end of the time, I was so grateful that I spent that time with myself. Because I had always spent time with other people. I was in a gang. I was over here with grandma. I was over here with all the other grandkids. I was fighting kids. I was doing basketball. Always ignoring all the bad things that was happening to me. Just constantly trying to stay busy like a little kid does. But for that unfortunate circumstance, I bloomed a flower in the darkness. And it was me. It was truly me. And that's when I decided I wanted to be a rapper. When I was 12, 13 years old. I had rap before when I was like 8 years old. And it was like a freestyle at one of the homies' barbecues. They were like, you should stick with this. Like, you talented, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. Like, all right. You know, got pumped up. So I kept doing that every once in a while at people's parties and stuff. Never really wrote. And then I started writing like a madman. I was 13 years old. Start writing. Show my dad, you know, say my stepdad. And he was like, that's good. But like, what you rapping about gangs for? You ain't in no gang. And I was like, nah, Pop, I used to be in a gang. He's like, nigga, stop lying. And I was like, I'm really not. Like, I'm not lying. And that's the crazy part is sometimes other people lie so goddamn much that they be casting their insecurities onto you. And they be projecting their reality onto you. So because you lied about it, that means I lied about it. Because you lied about it when you was 8 years old means I'm lying about it when I was 8 years old? Come on, man. There's more to it than that. It's not just your world. Otherwise, you would only hear an echo or you wouldn't hear anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I started writing like a madman when I was 13 years old. And we lived in Tustin, California when my mom got me back. And there was a lot. I went to a school that was called a continuation school. So we had basically half days. So we would get off at 12:15 every day. And it was all the bad kids. All right. When I was younger, I had a lot of shit go on in my life. So I'm trying to jump around so I don't take up the whole pod just about.
No, you good.
Yeah. But when I was younger, I had this teacher in 5th grade, and he was such an asshole. He's just like, I guess maybe he just didn't like me, or maybe I was a little asshole, I don't know, from the get-go or something like that. I kept asking him to teach me long division, and he wouldn't teach me the long division because apparently you're supposed to know by 5th grade, because at that time we learned in 4th grade, and then you're supposed to be well versed in it in 5th grade. So I was like, I don't know what's happening right here. I don't know how to do this part of the problem. And he was like, I'm not fucking teaching you. Like, he didn't say fucking, but he was like, I'm not teaching you. You're stupid. And he actually said that. And so that was, at that point, I never realized that that word had so much power to me because it triggered me immediately. And I just went straight up back into, old Verge or whatever. And I was like, I'm going to kill you. I stared him straight in the eyes. And he did what every 36-year-old man would do when a little kid's saying that to you. He laughed. And I was like, all right, bet. And so I went home and I grabbed gasoline. I grabbed rope. I grabbed knives, all kinds of shit. And I was like, I'm going to kill my teacher. Because this nigga's crazy. He think he can call me stupid. I'll show him. Got mad, got angry, let all the anger come out. And I went to the school. I followed him into a room. And before I went to the next room, I lit the library on fire. And then walked in behind him. And he was like, what the fuck? Like, he's like, what's going on? Like, walked out the other door. Didn't really pay attention to anything. I'm walking out, and I swear to this day that I must have been so enraged that I imagined him walking through that door. Because when I walked through the other side, there was no doorknob. So it opened, the flame stoked and got super big, and then the door shut behind me. And I was like, oh shit, now I can't get back in there. And I was like, had my backpack on me with all the stuff on me still. And I see a lunch lady walking out and during lunchtime and stuff. And she's like, what are you doing out here? Like, what are you doing out behind the library? And I was like, oh, I'm not doing nothing. It froze up and everything. And I was like, all right, I remember I put my Hot Wheels and my matchbook in there for like, you know what I'm saying, for another story so I wouldn't get caught. I was like, or I could just run for the fence. And she was like, come here. While I was thinking of all that shit, she done got so close to me that she could grab me. So she grabs my backpack and she looks in my backpack and I try to like move all my shit to the side. She looks in there and she pulls out the gas and pulls out the rope and pulls out. She's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, legit, like I ain't exaggerating this time. She said, what the fuck? And then the fire alarm went off. And she was like, oh my God, like, are you fucking serious? And then picks me up, takes me to the office. Sheriff shows up, my grandma shows up, my cousins show up, all kinds of stuff. So I ended up going to juvenile hall for like, I was only supposed to be in there for 3 months, but my grandma said I needed to learn a lesson, so she kept me in there for 6. And that was just like kind of to explain the situation why I was in continuation school when I got older. And so I'm in continuation school, and that's basically where all the bad kids go. When you get kicked out of a district, that's where they put you. They put you on the edge of one district, or they put you on in the middle, like the gray area, where there's no district. And that's where the school was. It basically looked like a little mini mart with all blacked out windows. That's where all of us was. Like all the gang members, everyone who was like 16 and had fully tatted and everything, like it was all in there. Fighting each other, arguing about who's gonna get head from who, and like just hooligan shit, you know. And I remember I stayed there for 6 months, and then they told me that my probation had been up, so I could go back into a new district. And I was like, whoa, like, what? Are you serious? I can go back to a normal school? Hell yeah. Like, because I was around a bunch of damn adults, basically. Like, all these cats was like 16, 17, but they was like fully grown and like full beards and, like I said, fully tattooed, beating the shit out of me. And so I was happy that I would be around other little kids, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, all right, so they gonna put me back in regular school. So they put me in this all-white school called Hughes Middle School. I was 2 grades behind because I got in a lot of fights and stuff, so I didn't really pay attention to academics. And so they put me in this school. It's in Tustin, California, and boy, all white people. Like, I didn't know. When they said that it was a rich school, I did not know that existed still. Like, it was all white people. And, like, after about, like, 4 months, I made friends and stuff like that. Every one of them had 14 feet deep pools and, like, go-karts and 4 bikes. And their dad had a Mustang that was already theirs. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, where do y'all get the money from? And their dad's like, oh, I'm an architect. And this dude's uncle's a fucking open heart surgeon. And I was like, the fuck? Like, my dad's selling auto parts. Like, you know what I'm saying? And he's a nurse. Like, and my mom's a telemarketer. Like, and we barely making it. Like, what the hell, y'all? Like, this is crazy. So I was on the edge. The trippy part is my apartment was right across the street from a cemetery. You could look out my window and see the cemetery. And then right on the other side of the cemetery was a CHP office. And if you walked 1 block down to the Stater Brothers, the grocery store, if you walk down there at the end of the block, this is where the ghetto ends, basically. Now, if you would have went that way, you walk past a couple of nice houses and stuff, and then you go right back into the ghetto. Now, you go that way, more than a couple blocks, you in suburbia. It was a trip, like how different it could be in just a couple of blocks. I was like, man, like this is nuts. But we lived there for a year, and then we moved up here. And I was about to be 14, and I met 2 of the most amazing people I've ever met which was my grandpa, Bobby Norris, and my grandma, Mary Norris. And they were my stepdad's step-parents. So it wasn't related at all. And they didn't know nothing about us. They just knew we was like city boys or whatever. So me and my brothers always fighting, bickering about all kinds of stuff. And they were like, look, if you want to come up here, you're going to have to stop fighting. Otherwise, you're not allowed on my land. I was like, oh, shit. Like, I don't want to lose that. Like, this is cool as fuck. We was up there in Whitethorn. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah. So up on a mountain. And so my grandma literally puts a rope around my waist and tells me, you're going to run a chainsaw. I was like, oh, shit. Like, what do you mean? And I was like, you know, thinking like it's going to be like this giant chainsaw or something. Nah, it's just like, you know, a 12-inch bar or whatever.
Yep.
I got to cut up all the limbs from the tree and stuff like that. And that was the first time I've been put to work. You know what I'm saying? Actual work. And then we had to go to Arcata. That's the first place we stopped. Yeah, the first place we dropped in was Sunnybray in Arcata. And we stayed with my stepdad's cousin for a little bit. And then I met this cat named Jaws Attack. Jaws ATAK 47. I don't know if he still goes by that. But he was rapping in front of like all these like receivers and stuff, like a tape deck and a receiver and a DVD player and all this stuff. And he was rapping into a microphone, you know what I'm saying? And he had like not a pop filter, but like a, you know what I'm saying, like a wave cap over a hanger.
Oh, shit.
In a circle. You know what I'm saying? Like rapping over it. And I was like, whoa, like, this is amazing. Like, and the crazy part is, dude didn't invite me into his house. He had a fence. His backyard was fenced in, but one plank was off. And so just being drawn from the music, like I heard the beat, bro. I was like, oh, that shit sounds cool. Like, but it sounds live. And I shit you not, I feel like I levitated from outside the fence to in this dude's doorway. And I'm just like staring at him, and he walks over to the door, opens the glass door, and he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, man, I don't know. I'm sorry. Like, everything, reality set in. I was like, oh shit, like, my bad. Like, I just heard you rapping and it sounded good. And he's like, oh, thanks, little homie. He's like, you want to try? And I was like, oh, hell yeah. Went up in there. Fast friends, man. After that, I think he was already like 22 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Older than me. And maybe he was 19 or something. But anyway, he was older than me. And so I'm starting rapping with him. And I just fell in love with it. And so every day for the next, I want to say 3 years, until I was like 17. Even when the shit I was going through with my mom and everything like that, I still rode the bus to Sunnybray to go meet up with Jaws and try to record music and stuff. And we worked on an album, and it was called Vergeology. And at the time, I didn't have a name. So before it was called Vergeology, I didn't have a name. And I was like, I don't fucking know what my name is or whatever. And I was like, let me be Epic Rhymes. You know what I'm saying? Let me be Black Spock. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, nah, that's not fitting. So one day, come over to his house. He's like smoking a blunt or whatever. And at that time, I'm like smoking weed. I'm like 17 or something. And he's like, what about King Verge? And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? I was like, all right, King Verge. Here we go. And so my ego gets swelled. You know what I'm saying? And I start going to like rap battles and going to college parties and going to high school parties, everywhere. Start just tearing up the mic every chance I got. And I was tearing it up because I was like, I ain't got no respect for this mic because this mic don't know me. Mm-hmm. And so I went in there with that mentality. And so I actually met Knack One when I was 16 years old.
Oh, wow.
And he came up here momentarily with some other cats. I forget what their names were, but it was back when DTA was DTA. You know what I'm saying? And it was actually, I forget if it was across the street. I think it was. For some reason, I'm thinking that it was across the street. But anyway, like I said, I used to go back there and like rap with all the older homies and stuff and not really do anything. I just rapped. That was it. And one day, I actually had a performance or whatever with like a group of like 6 homies. And Knack showed up there and was doing like a freestyle thing just to show off like his freestyle skills and stuff. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck? You can do that? Because I did something, rehearsed and recorded. And so I was like, I had already been freestyling, kind of breaking away from doing an album and a project and trying to get really good at freestyling. And once I saw that, I was like, bro, are you serious? Like, went up to Knack One, I was like, bro, you're amazing. And he was like, oh, thanks, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then that was it. That's all I saw of Knack after that. I didn't see him after that. And so that was just like a small connection. Mm-hmm. And made a small connection with Ian, who owned DTA, you know what I'm saying? And then made a small connection with Johnny Angel when I just freestyle randomly at one of his parties. And then when they had, what was it? You remember the hip hop place they had where Savage Henry's is?
Oh yeah, Red Fox.
Yeah, so I saw Flo J perform there one time, and I think I was like almost like I don't remember how old I was, but I know I met Flo J when I was 16 at one point, and I was like, bro, you're dope. And then the next time I saw him, he performed there, and I was like, bro, what the fuck? Let me show you something that I wrote. And I showed him something that I wrote, and he's like, bro, you fam for real? And I was like, all right, bet. Like, that's crazy. I just remember connecting with all these cats in different times in my life. Just like a blip for the smallest amount of time. Just like shaking their hand and saying thank you. Now, Eli Fowler is technically my cousin. Because he's related to my grandma, my stepdad's stepmom. He's related to their family. And all their kids, you know what I'm saying, all my uncles and stuff used to be friends with Eli Fowler and all his friends and all his, like, so we connected. And then like Rowdy too. Like, we're connected somehow through marriage as well. Like, and Eli Fowler and Rowdy. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, trip me out when I'm listening to the pod, and I'm like, bro, wait a minute. He said this name. You know what I'm saying? And he said he was at DTA. And he said he used to hang out by the Hutch. You know what I'm saying? The liquor store out there. So, the owner of the liquor store done known me since I was 14. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know this until 2022. I was about to leave and go to Portland because like my son had really bad allergies and stuff. So we was going to go to a big city to see if that helped. Now I go to the last Fat Bowl Cypher and all these cats come. Everybody was there. And even Albert was there. I met him as I was walking out and stuff to go smoke a cigarette, and he was like, yo, bro, like, what's up? My name's Albert. And I was like, bro, my name's Albert too. Like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, oh, that's crazy. And he was like, yeah, man. He's like, man, you did your shit. And I was like, you did too. It was just such a good, positive moment. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, fuck, I'm really about to leave this. And then I met the owner from the Hutch, and he's like, hey, man, I I worked down there at the Hutch or whatever for years. And he's like, I remember you coming in here doing your thing when you was like 14 at the other spot. And I was like, bro, what? And then Brian Swislow came through too. And he's like, hey man, yeah, I remember Ian showing me like videos and stuff. And I remember your name circulating through. He's like, do you know about like Eli and stuff? And he's like, maybe you should go talk to Eli. I went and talked to Eli. And I was like, hey bro, do you know Bobby Norris? And he's like, wait, you mean Bobby Norris? Bobby and Mary? And I was like, yeah, those are my grandparents. He's like, are you fucking serious? Oof. Just like open the whole world. And I was like, bro, and I got Ian, Rough Ian, and I got ATG, Alexander the Greatest, and I got Sequoia, and I got Johnny Angel. Now I got Dre Meza. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I got all these cats. And like, I'm about to leave this? And so it was heartbreaking for me to like leave Portland or leave Humboldt and go to Portland. And I was told that like, you know, they got a big hip hop scene and everything like that up in Portland, which they do. But I didn't know anybody. So, right. You know what I'm saying? So it was hard for me to get anything going when I was up there. On top of that, every person of color that I met, every other person of color that I met told me to stay inside of Portland proper. Because if I didn't stay inside of Portland proper, it's racist as fuck. And I was like, well, I didn't experience that until I did. Until I went outside of Portland proper because one of my kids' schools had like a party or whatever, and it was in like a predominantly white neighborhood and stuff, and it was rich. And man, they looked like they ain't never seen a black person before. Mm-hmm. Like something was stuck on my skin. You know what it was? Blackness. They was like, you gotta wash that shit off. Guess what? I can't, motherfucker. Stop staring at me. Right. so it tripped me out. And then I got depressed, man. And I didn't want to be there anymore. And there was only like 3 days of sunshine out of the fucking 8 months that I was there. Mm-hmm. And shit, like for like 2 weeks of that, there was 11 inches of snow. You go from California, not really experiencing snow, to experiencing snow. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you just one state over. And I've been to Hawaii at that point in my life. I had been to Hawaii for a week and all up and down California. But that's it. Never been to any other state or anything. And then even now, I've been to Portland for 8 months. I've been to California up and down, all the way up and down, every little nook and cranny. Tried to anyway. I've been to Jamaica for 1 week and Hawaii for 1 week. Yeah, with Jamaica for like almost 2 weeks. But yeah, so those are the only places that I've like known. You know what I'm saying? And so when I went to Portland, is like a whole different fucking universe. It felt like, you know what I'm saying? Especially when I felt like I was getting something going that was so good for me here in Humboldt. And when I came back, it was nothing but love. You know what I'm saying? Homies just like showed me love, supported me, fucking helped me with food, anything I needed, because I needed to get back on my feet when I came back. I had a $1,800 mortgage to pay by myself. Because I was supposed to pay that, and my lady had to pay rent up in Portland.
Oh, what? Yeah.
Yeah. So to keep the house or whatever, I had to fucking hustle. And so brothers was bringing me, chicken broth, bone broth, whatever I needed, rice, beans, meat, whatever it was. And so I'm so grateful for the people around me. Like, shout out to Rough Ian, shout out to Sequoia Folk, shout out to ATG, shout out to Johnny Angel, even just like a friend to talk to, man. Shout out to Cindy, like, you know what I'm saying? Synapses, like, yeah. It was, I couldn't believe how willing these people were to help me and to give up the time of day for me. You know what I'm saying? It blew my mind, and that's actually the start of what I like to call Humboldt hip hop. In my experience, is our willingness to grow with each other and help each other, help facilitate that growth with each other and keep each other honest too. If you're being an asshole, you an asshole. You know what I'm saying? If you're being great and compassionate, we're going to tell you that. You know what I'm saying? We're going to shake your hand and be like, damn, bro, good job. Like, good job on you. You know what I'm saying? For doing something like that. That takes a lot of guts to be able to do something and say something like that. Like, all the people around me that create music, from what I've experienced of them, they are truly great people and truly honest people. That's really their fucking life that they rapping about, or they singing about, or they writing about.
Right.
They're not lying. They're not fronting. Nothing like that. It's truly their life. You want to know why? Because I heard the actual story outside of lyricism form. You know what I'm saying? You could feel it. Also, when you've known someone for long enough, you could feel it when they're being true. They ain't got nothing to hide from you. Full on ass naked, butt ass naked right here, just showing you everything, bro. Like, my hands up. This is a universal sign. This is a universal sign of being vulnerable. What's a cat do when it wants you to rub its belly? What's a dog do when it wants to rub its belly? What's a baby do when they're happy as hell and you changing their diaper? Put their hands up. It's a universal sign of being vulnerable, letting you in, and letting everything out that I feel. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Sorry.
Nah, you good, man. That's all beautiful, man. I'm thinking about it. Yeah. And that's a real good way to describe the community. You know, it's a real close-knit community, you know what I mean, of cool people in hip-hop around here. There's different, groups and everything like that. Not everybody, hangs around with each other. But, like, just for instance, like, when it's time for the Fat Bowl Cypher, you know what I'm saying, you're going to see the homies go down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And put their time in, put their talent in to the pot, this beautiful pot of artistry and talent that exists around here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I swear I'll never stop saying this, because there's a lot of, and this ain't me, nobody should ever feel like I'm down on anybody for saying anything, but what I'm saying is people underestimate the beauty in the local hip hop community.
Oh yeah.
Around here, because there's a lot of art that happens.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different niches. But you don't understand, and you won't be able to feel what we're talking about until you go down to a Fat Bowl Cypher. Yeah. You won't be able to feel that until you go to a show and see these people bearing it all. Like you said, making themselves vulnerable.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If you go to the Insight Cypher, under the bridge every Wednesday, 5:30 to 7. You know what I'm saying? If you go under that's like, that might be too raw for some people. You know what I'm saying? Cause
it's all love, though. It's all love.
Not us. We're good. But I'm just saying, if you ain't never seen a lot of homeless people in one place, it could be overwhelming for some people. That could be a culture shock, a shell shock for some people. You know what I'm saying? It could scare the shit out of you, because we know that they ain't gonna do anything. We're fine, and they're fine. And we've helped people, and we've also cussed some people out for being stupid. You know what I'm saying? Just being stupid. Like, I don't care if you homeless or whatever, but if you acting like an asshole, I'm going to call you an asshole. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter. So you want me to treat you like a human? I'm going to treat you like a human. I'm going to love the fuck out of you. If you need something, I'm going to give it to you. But also, same thing. If you need some advice right now, you being an asshole, I'm going to call you an asshole. Give it to me. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, we rap in those conditions to show that we truly love it. Bro, we rapping sometimes in pouring down rain. In sideways rain. Motherfuckers don't know that. It rains sideways in Humboldt. I am not fucking playing with you. That shit that shit will rain sideways on your ass. Because of the crossbreed, because of the crosswinds, man. It carry them damn raindrops. You'll get your ear wet.
Yep.
And it'll make no sense.
Yep. It's wet up here, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And so it's like that. It'd be hella cold. It'd be super windy. Shit, last week, it was a bunch of mosquitoes. That was hilarious because, like, a bunch of the cats wanted to move to the other side. And I was just laughing because I was like, bro, y'all was literally here when, like, the craziest shit has happened. And that's where you draw the line is the mosquitoes. And they was like, nah. Like, all I'm saying is they're fucking annoying. And I was like, all right, bet. Like, I don't say who. But but it's always a good time, even when it's like fucking tense and sometimes shit gets out of hand and someone says something a little bit too personal or something like that and someone didn't agree. We still figure that shit out. You know what I'm saying? And that's hip hop. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And what makes it, in my opinion, what makes it Humboldt hip hop is our willingness to grow. That's what Humboldt has been for me. Just not even just as an MC, but as a person. I've met little niches and little corners and little patches of people that were willing to fucking grow with you. Mm-hmm. And were willing to let you cry on their shoulder or let you fucking scream at the top of your lungs in the middle of the woods. You know what I'm saying? So that you can get through what the fuck you're going through. You know what I'm saying? And for some people, that's screamo. For some people, that's heavy metal. For some people, that's country music. That's rock and roll. That's jazz. For us, it's a fusion of all those things. It could come out however we want to because that is, in my opinion, Humboldt hip hop. We're not limited by the jazz kicks and snares or anything like that because we ourselves here in California are so much a part of a melting pot. Mm-hmm. And not just white people, it's not just black people, it's not just, you say whatever color you want, it's not just those people. We are so many different people. So if we're so many different people, we're so many different cultures. If we're so many different cultures, we're so many different instruments. And if we're so many different instruments, we're so many genres of music that could bring new possibilities. It's not to say don't give respect to the OGs. Give respect, all the respect to all the OGs that paved the way for us. Most definitely. But we can still create our own unique music. And that's what we're doing. Mm-hmm. We're creating our own walkway, our own catwalk that we can strut across so that we can show, our beauty. Hip-hop Humboldt. Humboldt hip-hop. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah.
You have a beautiful way, too, of just explaining things. And your prose, you're very eloquent, bro.
Thank you.
Like, and it's very inviting the way, I've just been captivated this entire time.
Respect.
I know I'm not going to be the only one when people listen to it. You know what I mean? It's on another level. You're really tapping in right now, bro. And I just appreciate you bringing that to the podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, no,
thank you, bro.
You're welcome. I've had to pay attention to that. I've had to pay attention to acknowledging thank yous and acknowledging like blessings and compliments and everything like that. Because I'll just be, that comes down to self-worth. It's like, that's another step in the journey. Because yes, there is a step where you got to love yourself and you got to take care of yourself and everything. But it's also, you got to be aware of the people that's also trying to give you a little bit of love. And try and give you a little bit of appreciation. You know what I'm saying? Try not to go so fast and be like, oh, no. Don't worry about it. Like, no, worry about that shit because you worried about me. That's why you said thank you. So you're welcome. You know what I'm saying? So what I was going to say, though, is honestly, through my journey, it's like, I can't fucking explain how to be a good freestyler. I can't explain how to be a poet. I can't explain how to be a present person. Now, what I can try to explain is the way that I approach things. So when I listen to people, I try and push all my thoughts out and just listen to them and collect every word and then create a thought after that. That's called actively listening or radically listening, if you will. And I also try very hard to stay in the moment with people. And that allows me, the times when I'm freestyling and everything, to tap into my past and tap into my future, or even tap into the present. Also, my dreadlocks, just leaving them alone and not putting any crazy shit. And this is just my opinion and how I live my life. Not putting any crazy hair products or anything in my dreadlocks and everything. They're fucking antennae.
Oh yeah. 100%.
My ancestors of many different Mexican, Puerto Rican, and African all wore their hair in certain ways to create more of a spiritual connection. And can I tell you honestly that I've tried bald, I've tried afro, I've tried cornrows, I've tried buzzed, I've tried fades. This is the best my head has ever felt. Just leaving it the fuck alone. I spray witch hazel and some oil on there every once in a while or whatever to like just clear up my scalp to detoxify it. And then I use a little bit of shampoo like once a month or whatever. Outside of that, I leave it the fuck alone. And that has also helped with my clarity of mind. Not like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not sitting there fucking scratching and like freaking out about my scalp. So if you put it this way, if you're freaking out about your scalp, the skin on your head, how can you think if the very skin on your head is freaking you out? How can you then articulate your thoughts that are inside your head? You know what I'm saying? You get lost in the physical. You get so caught up in the physical, you be itching and scratching and all kinds of stuff. Once you figure that out, then you could connect with so much more. And I another thing is I try and believe that I am you and you are me. Now, I believe that everybody has the possibility of being correct on the way that they die, on their God, on their understanding. I believe in the possibility of everyone being correct. The reasoning behind that is because I legally died 3 times. I've had so many seizures at one point that they had to use the paddles on me. Because I lost oxygen to my brain and everything, and then I stopped breathing completely. Everything shut down. So the first time, they tapped me with the paddles, and I stepped outside my body, and I saw all white. Kind of like if you stare into this light, and if you just let everything fade, and just stare into the light long enough, you'll only see white. That's exactly what happened. It got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it was only white. And then eventually I felt like I was walking, so I kept walking. Come to a bench, and I was like, oh, I know what this is. Like, this is the bench. Like, this is what's it called? Between heaven and hell.
Purgatory.
Yeah, purgatory. And so I was like, all right, so I'm supposed to wait for whoever gonna come get me from whatever side. So I sit down on the bench. And I shit you not, I sat down on the bench and some big white dude standing next to me. And he's like, hey, how you doing? And I was like, whoa, where'd you come from? And he's like, I've been here the whole time. It's like, word? And he's like, yeah. So are you ready? Do you want to come with me? Or do you want to go back to where you came from? Are you ready? I said, I'm not ready. He said, okay, then walk that way. So I walked back, fucking woke up, chest burnt like hell. I pissed and shit on myself. My nose was bleeding. Sure enough, little couple, I think it was like a month and a half of rehab, trying to walk and stuff again. Now I was good. And so I'm going to skip forward a little bit. And second time, this was in the hospital. And they was testing me. They put all the connectors to my hair to test what kind of seizures I was having. So they bring this big machine, and it has a remote that's sitting next to you, and it tests the electricity levels of your brain, the epileptic activity. And so if it spikes or goes up past a certain decibel or whatever, then they know you have epileptic activity and it's dangerous to your brain. So they let me have a seizure for 11 minutes because I didn't have epileptic activity. But then that knocked me unconscious. It made it hard for me to come back. And so then I start breathing, and then I couldn't catch my breath. And usually I come back from my seizures pretty quick too, because they're different. They're stress induced. And so I'm like, I can't breathe. They start trying to get the thing in my mouth, the tube and stuff to help me breathe. And I pass out. And that time I didn't step out of my body. I was just out of my body. And I was standing next to my body. And I'm staring at my body and I was like, seeing everybody freak out and like hitting the light and all this shit. I'm in the hospital bed. And I see my shit just flatlined or whatever. And I was like, what the hell? It's an out of body experience for me. And I looked at my fingers and I could see the only way I can explain it still to this day, just the only way I can explain it is either sand or glitter. My fingers start turning into it and going out the window. And once it hit the window, it dispersed to everything. So the first story I told you is kind of that of what people believe for religion, right? Second story I told you is kind of what people believe that nothing happens or you go back to everything. Now this third story is a little different. I came back that second time and I remember like not feeling very well because they used the fucking paddles on me again. So I had big ass scabs on my chest and I smoked a bunch of cigarettes and I drank a bunch of coffee. That's basically all I was doing when I was homeless, trying to wait for a check or whatever, a state disability check. And so I'm staying in a homeless shelter. I think I was like 4 months in or something like that. And I met this lady. Her name was Taniqua. And she was a staff member there. And dude, we became like best friends. Like, and I really mean that, like best friends, nothing sexual or anything like that. Just like really good homies. And she took care of me beyond what you could ever ask of a staff member of a homeless shelter to take care of you. And so I remember one night I wasn't feeling very well. And I had a couple seizures the day before. And so I'm like laying down on the couch and I look up and I was like, yo, I think I'm ready. And she was like, ready? Ready for what? I was like, I think I'm ready to go. Like, I'm tired of this shit. Like, I've been having seizure after seizure, after going to hospital after hospital. They be calling me drug addict, like all kinds of shit. They had my blood, 4 vials, 5, 6 sometimes, sitting in between my legs. Motherfuckers didn't even test it and would call me a drug addict. I was like, you can test my blood. You got it right here. And they were like, we don't need to. We know you're a drug addict. I was like, from what? My past blood example? No, because you... And I was like, oh, I look like one. You know what I'm saying? I'll finish it. I'll finish your sentence, you asshole. Mm-hmm. And so that shit, I was just tired of it. I was tired of it all. And I didn't want to kill myself. I just wanted to release and just let the shit go. Why the fuck am I holding on so long if all this shit sucks? My life sucks. My girlfriend at the time left me. I was homeless. None of my family stepped up.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
None of my family stepped up. And so, like, I was like, my grandma died at the beginning of that year. I had a mini stroke on a forklift at work, and my left side stopped working for like 2 weeks. And then it came back, and thank God. And it was like, I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do? I was staying on the couch at my friend's house at that point. And then when I kept getting worse, started having seizures and everything, I was like, fuck, I can't stay on this man's couch. So I went to a homeless shelter. And then when I would feel guilty about staying in a homeless shelter, self-worth and everything, I was literally staying on the street because I didn't feel worthy of the bed that they gave me. You know what I'm saying? So I have a seizure, pass out in the bush, and wake up on a lawn. And so it was just like hit after hit. And then my grandpa, who I told you, like one of the greatest people I ever met, one of the greatest, taught me how to use your chainsaw, cut a whole tree down, like taught me how to build doll houses, how to not fight with my father, how to love my mama, like all these things. He died. You know what I'm saying? Like
talking about Bobby Norris.
Yeah. And I was like, and I couldn't make it to the funeral because I couldn't get a ride and all these things. So I was freaking the fuck out. And I was like, man, this is horrible. Like I miss my grandpa's funeral. Like I miss my grandma's funeral. All these things, wild thoughts going through my mind. And then I remember going and looking up. I'm back on the couch here. I'm just staring up, and I just keep reciting. You are who you want to be. 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 And I was like, I want to be free. So I shit you not, I went into a seizure like seconds after that. Now, during that seizure, there's pain all over my body. And it felt like I was being pushed through a fissure. Just like the tiniest hole. I fly through the hole, and it felt like I was on a damn airplane or something. Fly up out the air, past the city, and I could see it all like a vivid image. See the city of, see Gentoli first, then see the city of Arcata, and then I see California, and then I see the United States, and then I see all the oceans, and then I see the earth, and then I see just clouds. And I was like, why the fuck do I see clouds in the middle of space? Like, this is some crazy shit. And then I stop at this cloud, and I see these beings. It was like three beings. It's just silhouettes, black silhouettes, head and shoulder. And they had stars as like what made up their bodies. Kind of like what was on AI, that movie AI. And they were like talking, and I couldn't understand what they were saying or anything. And then I get closer and closer, and they're like, "You, what are you doing here?" I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Hey man, I don't know why I'm here." I was like, "I wanted to be free." And then the one in the middle said, "You're not ready." And touched my forehead, and then I fucking flew back, everything back in reverse. The earth, the ceiling, everything. And then all the way to the ceiling. And I fucking woke up, and that lady was there, and they just gave me like epinephrine, or not epinephrine, but they gave me some shit intravenous. And she was like, I felt you leave. And when I came back, when I opened my eyes, everybody in the homeless shelter came into that main room. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck just happened, but like something just happened. Like some energy or some shit freaked me out. So I had to come in here and find you because she was a staff member and stuff. And then the ambulance come and they check on me and stuff like that. And they were like, yo, like, we would feel better if you go to the hospital. And I was like, I don't want to go to the hospital, bro. Y'all treat me like shit over there. They were like, yo, man, but like you had a seizure this long, so we would feel a lot better. And I was like, all right, if you stay with me. I was like, so you can see how they treat me. And I shit you not, they didn't treat me any different. Because he was there. Dude was like, the ER doctor was like, if you keep lying, you're going to lose your girlfriend, you're going to lose your mom, you're going to lose everyone who loves you because you're lying about doing drugs. And I was like, again, you have my blood. Like, test my blood. And the EMT walked off, bro. He couldn't even believe it. He was crying when he walked out of there. He was like, are you fucking serious? And he was like, the ER doctor looked at him and he was like, we got everything we need. You can leave. I shit you not. And so those three experiences allow me to believe in the way that I believe in. It's because I experienced three different, whatever, you can call them hallucinations, even if you wanted to. But I experienced those three experiences and came back believing that everyone has the possibility of being right. And that allowed me not to judge people all the time. I let go of it. Let go of fucking caring so much about what this person thinks about me. Or caring so much that this person stinks. Or caring so much because this person's a Christian. Do you know what Christians have done? Just because Christians have done this thing doesn't mean the Christian in front of you is going to do that. Just because white people have enslaved other peoples doesn't mean the white person in front of you is going to enslave you. The very same for African descendants doesn't mean that we're going to hang you or cut you or put you on a pike. None of that. Our ancestors did what our ancestors did. Now let it lie. Let it be. Our journey is to heal with our ancestors. It's not your journey to tell me about my ancestors and what they did and all these things. No, that's their journey to tell me. And however they see fit. That's what I truly believe. And what you believe is what you believe. But when you come across the table and try to blame or push your beliefs on me, that's when shit's gonna get physical. Because just like a poem I did the other day at a poetry event, violence is inherent when you don't listen to my words. What does a kid do when he's screaming for his mom? You know what I'm saying? Screams. First off, he says mom. Then he says mom. Then he says mama. And then he starts screaming, right? Then the mom don't listen. Or the mom comes over to him with aggression. What happens now? Usually the kid fucking hits her. Or she hits the kid. Violence is inherent when you don't listen to my words. So that's all I'm saying is you can have your opinion. But don't get so trapped up in it and think that it's so factual that everybody has to believe it. One very important statement that I wanted to make tonight that I kept in the back of my head is that at one point science was made up too. At one point religion had to start. There's a starting point for all those things. So don't shut down every single idea because you're so held fast to yours.
Mm-hmm. That's real talk.
Yeah, man. It's I only want. I really just want to live. I with the happiest, most authentic smile I could give you. I really just want to live, and I want to share my life with people that want to do the same. And if we continue to do the things that we're doing, like your podcast to me, shares so much joy and understanding to me as an individual. I was listening to that when I was struggling up in Portland. Fucking gave me a place, a home. Gave me a sense of home. Outside of my son and outside of my lady. When shit was going wrong with them, I listened to that and fucking blasted it like it was music. Because I needed something to bring me back to my basis, to my foundation. And that's what you're doing here. So I truly want to thank you. Like, from the bottom of my heart, I really do mean that. Every time that you, man, every time you come up on here, yo, what's up? Welcome back to the pod. Like, I'm like, bro, he's fucking doing it again. Oh my God. It's like your favorite episode of your favorite cartoon when you was little, when you hear the theme song. When I hear that beat go on, I'm like, oh man, I'm so fucking proud of David. That's fucking amazing. I'm so proud of Albert. I'm so proud of Hype. Look at these cats, man. I can't believe this shit. Like, what y'all doing right now is creating not only the foundation, but you also bringing the plaster and setting up the rafters, you know what I'm saying, and setting up the roof for cats. You know what I'm saying? Because for some of us, we already had the foundation, but we needed to connect all the other pieces. Like me, I had the foundation, but I just needed to connect all the other pieces to make sense of this shit. So I can make a full house that I can live in. So that I can move the furniture in with my album and then sit here and lay in my motherfucking bed that I made.
I hear you.
Yeah, man.
Hey, thank you for saying that, fam. You know, it's definitely been fun work, and I love listening to everybody's stories and, their past. But let me tell you what, fam. I mean, I've done something like, 60 episodes, probably more than like 60, 65 or something like that. You touched me tonight, man. Like hearing you bear yourself, your authentic self, for the people out there. And this has been just the like I said, like captivating, and so the pleasure's mine to be able to sit with you and listen to your life story like this. And everybody's got, everybody's on a different place in their path, but you have this uncanny ability to tap in to the universe's energy. And I feel it coming out with like every word that you say, man.
Oh yeah, I'm shaking. Oh yeah, I'm shaking for sure.
And I'm glad that you're welcome. And I'm glad that the podcast could be that for you when you were up in Portland. You know what I mean? Give that taste of, that touch of home, because there's something special about this place. I don't like everything here. I grew up in the big city. And so, even just separate from that, health, like you already know, having, health issues, the healthcare, like you talked about, the healthcare system around here has a lot to be desired. There's certain things I don't like about this place, but there's something special about this place. It really is. Whether it's because we're on Indian land, but just the energy and something about Humboldt is special. And I think a lot of people, they feel that being in Humboldt County, and it's this unsaid thing that people can't even explain. But there's something about it, man. And you are one of the people, like my friend Hype, like Flo J. Simpson, like Albert, and a bunch of my other friends. Y'all have this ability to tap in. And that's that beauty. That's the unspoken beauty of Humboldt County hip hop. And what you guys are doing and have done from the start to now. you know? And so that's one of the things where when people listen to this episode, I want y'all to realize this energy that Verge put on this podcast right now, like that's the type of energy that exists when you come out to the events and the shows in Humboldt County. You're seeing people tap into that energy that's around here. And it's the most beautiful thing, man. It really is.
Yeah.
You know, fam. I've seen you freestyle and you close your eyes and I've seen it. I've seen you transport, like you talked about with the out of body experiences. I've seen you transport your whole existence to another place and you're pulling from it. And that's what's moving your words and your freestyles, man. And that's not something to be taken lightly.
Yeah.
It's important work that people need to be doing. And not more importantly, just in another side of it is people need to expose themselves to that up here. Don't shun out Humboldt hip hop because you have these preconceived notions of hip hop, or you know what I mean, what certain commercialized, aspects of hip hop, are and everything like that. Especially people that really enjoy conscious hip hop. Could be in the whole country, man. Yeah. This is one of the most place where conscious hip hop is happening on a level more than just words and talking about, certain concepts and I'm very justice minded, very liberation minded. Separate from that, the consciousness, I'm talking about that tapping in consciousness.
Yeah.
That's what's happening in Humboldt County hip hop. When you go out to these events, when y'all see somebody like Verge, when y'all see the people that can do it up here, and that's not something to take lightly, man. There's not even just talent. There's an innate ability. Again, like my homie Hype, he's got that same ability to tap in to the moment, to the energy.
Oh, you can feel it. You can feel it when you shake his hand. When you shake his hand, when you say how you doing, he's actually about to tell you. And when he asks you, he's actually about to listen. You actually pay attention to what the hell you said.
Yeah. Radical listening, like you talked about.
Yeah.
That's radical presence. And so that's just beautiful, fam. I'm just so thankful for you to bring that energy like that to the podcast. I'm not going, hey man, it ain't, we're not out here comparing, but this has been one of the best podcasts. It might be because it might be because I'm, I haven't recorded some in a while or something like that, but fam, this has been incredible. Yeah. And I'm just so thankful that whether you bring it to the pod, that you're bringing this to the community.
Oh yeah.
You're a very special person, man.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. I greatly appreciate it. It's been a long road. You know what I'm saying? And even though I'm in pain most of the time and I can't even walk most of the time, you know what I'm saying? For like, I want to say 60% of the time, I be having seizures, can't walk. I still decide to think that the world's beautiful. Throughout all that, throughout everything I've been through, it's a decision. It's up here, up in your mind. You take control of how you live. If you keep saying, this is shit, I hate this place, blah, 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 you keep getting mad, that's what's going to come back to you. More shit, more madness. If you just pause for a second, don't let that shit get to you too personally. You know what I'm saying? Don't take it. Yes, of course, acknowledge where you are. But then accept it and be grateful for what you do have instead of being hateful for what you don't have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when you get into that place of gratitude, so many doors open up to you. Even if it's not of material gain, sometimes it's just a friend that's going to be there for you through thick or thin. They don't give a fuck about money. They don't give a fuck about food. They're going to help you with whatever. Sometimes it's a friend. That's all you needed. And you keep pissing and moaning about the rent and your baby mama and all these other things. And sometimes all you needed was somebody to listen to you. Just like them other folks that I lived with. Sometimes all you needed was someone to tell you that, be quiet, homie. Be grateful. You walking. Be grateful. You talking. I had a seizure before and couldn't talk for 3 months. No words, no nothing, no sound. That's when I contemplated suicide. That's what that poem is about on my album. Because it was the one thing that I felt I truly had, and the universe was taking that shit away. I was like, if I'm not in control of this, then I will be in control of taking my life. That's how pissed off I was. That's how mad. That's how in a dark place I was. It's just like I said before, you need to be balanced within the light and within the dark, in my opinion. If you get too much darkness, you get to the point of those thoughts. If you get too much light, you get to the point of thinking you're on a high horse, thinking you're better than everybody. You got to balance. I couldn't talk, couldn't sing, couldn't tell my lady I loved her, couldn't tell my son I loved him. Couldn't tell my dog, go poop in the fucking corner. You know what I'm saying? So every little thing I wrote on an iPad, wrote on a notepad, tried learning sign language. You know what I'm saying? But I was so frustrated I didn't want to do anything. But when I decided to be grateful, I tried for, I think it was 3 weeks. I would soak myself in an Epsom salt bath, and I would fucking try my damnedest to hum. Nothing. No, not even that. Not even that little gurgle. Nothing.
Damn.
And eventually, the fucking 3rd week, it's like, kept trying. I just called. I was like, oh fuck! Like, I was like, because my vocal cords were sore as fuck, and so it didn't come out right. You know what I'm saying? It didn't sound like that at all. And I was like, because I couldn't say words yet. My vocal cords and my mouth, like I remember my jaw fucking hurt from like talking. It felt like it popped back in the socket or something. And I'm like trying to talk to her. I'm saying all the words up here. And I'm like, to my lady, I just fucking hummed. Like, you wouldn't believe it. But what came out was, she's like, just calm down, breathe. She's like, it's okay. And so I was like, and she was like, oh my God, you fucking hummed. And I was like, you know what I'm saying? Just shaking my hands like, I fucking know. Like, I'm juiced. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, I want to say maybe 4 minutes later, she told me to calm down and, like, not overdo it. But I was fucking excited. I ain't said anything. Just like right now, you can tell I like to talk. You know what I'm saying? And, like, when I get excited about something, when I share my passion, there's almost nothing that can stop me. And so I did it again. And then eventually, after like, I want to say an hour of doing that shit, I was sore as hell. put fucking ice on my neck, you know what I'm saying? Trying to like calm down. And I was looking at my lady, and looking at her body, and looking at her eyes, just touching her skin and everything. And I just looked at her and I was like, I just really wanted to say I love you. That was the first sentence I said in like 3 months. I don't know if she remembers that, but I remember that. I remember that. It was a beautiful time.
Remind you, don't take nothing for granted.
No, especially not my words. and what I got to say to people. Because it could be gone like that.
Mm-hmm.
So everything I say, I done already thought of this conversation, this podcast, 1,000,000 times. Because I really want it to mean something to me when I listen back. But also for all the other people who could possibly relate. They might not relate to the whole thing, but someone out there that's listening to your podcast could have ate dog food when they was younger. Could have been molested. Could have seen people killed. Could have been the person who killed someone and is surrounded by a bunch of fakers. You know what I'm saying? Could be a person like me who has stress-induced seizures and a bunch of other disabilities who just needs to hear, yo, it's not okay, but it's okay. One day, you will be all right. You'll be better than you are right now. That might sound like some cliche fucking saying that they'll write on the Hallmark card, but if you truly believe, just like when we was little kids and they told us to believe in the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus and all that, it didn't even seem real. When you believed wholeheartedly in your pops and he came home with dinner, didn't he seem happier? When you believe in yourself and you achieve that thing that you believed in, you become that person a little bit more each time, every time.
Mm-hmm.
So just believe in yourself. Be grateful for who you are and what you are right now. And that's how you get the building blocks. That's how you get the foundation. That's how you get the rafters, the sheetrock, everything. Not in that order, but you'll build a house that you could one day move your furniture into. That one day you can move your bed into. Make that fucking bed, lay in it, get some rest, wake up, and show somebody else how to do it. That's it. It don't make no sense making it to the top of the hill if you don't show nobody else how to do it. The hell I look like living on top of the hill by myself for? Fuck that. I'd rather dig into the hill and make a damn 3-story building that's on top of the hill too. So it's actually 6 stories, but y'all only know half the truth.
Mm-hmm.
What a pyramid's built for.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'll just say it.
No, that's real, man. This has been nothing but just, realness the whole time, Verge. I appreciate you so much, fam.
Yeah,
You know, and I don't want you to think too. I say this to every guest on the podcast, but I'm out here. I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
So when you ready to, when you got more music coming out, when you ready to come back, when you visualize some more stories, to tell people, and get out there, get your story out there, the podcast is here for you, fam.
Word.
This podcast is always going to show love to you, fam. This has been an incredible time.
Hey, respect. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Man. Thank you, fam. I really mean it. I really mean it,
Yeah.
But yeah, make sure y'all listen to this whole episode. Well, if you're at this point right now, you've listened to it all the way through.
Yeah.
But at this point now, make sure you go and check out Verge's work that he's put out. Make sure you follow up and listen to all the artists that record at Shady Manila Records.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sequoia Falk.
Yeah.
And what he's doing for the community, and, just keep in mind that everything that Verge is saying on this podcast, that's him tapping in on a whole nother level that people sometimes take for granted. So don't take it for granted. Don't take anything for granted. That's one of the things that I'm taking away from this entire time with you is don't take anything for granted.
Yeah.
Be thankful for everything. It's all about gratitude. It all flows from gratitude. And sometimes you lose yourself out of gratitude, but you can always find your way back.
Yep.
Yep.
You truly can. You truly can. You just got to try again. That's it. You when you was skateboarding, you know what I'm saying? When you was little, you fell, but in order to get the trick, you kept going. You got back on it. It's the same thing.
One of my favorites, Aaliyah, dust yourself off and try again.
That's it.
She was one of those that could tap into, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Rest in power.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, my brother. I really appreciate you. This is just like I said. I keep saying it. This has been incredible. I am so thankful for you and your time tonight.
Oh, it's been a beautiful journey, and it's also, it's also healing for me. So it's healing for me to talk about this with people and to people, and just thank you for providing the platform and the stage that we could all share our journeys and our stories for the rest of our community to know. And also shout out to everybody who was on this podcast before and all my homies that I know. If I didn't say your name, know I love you and that I got much respect for you as an MC. And let's just get more of this work out and get more of this art out so that people truly know who we are as Humboldt Hip Hop.
That's it. Hey, make sure y'all keep tuning in. We got more episodes coming. We got more music coming out of, with what Verge is doing. Like I said, again, at Shady Manila Records, shout out to 5 a.m. out there. He's doing some good work, recording and, supporting a lot of artists. Just want to make sure I say some different names that, are making it happen out there because it's a beautiful community.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so don't push yourself or separate yourself from it as a person in this community. I'm telling you, Humboldt County hip hop is and people, you might get mad, you might not, I don't care. Humboldt County hip hop is one of the most important pieces of this puzzle that creates this area around here. And don't forget that.
Yeah, I never will. Now she said, oh, my bad. I guess Verge's Life at Instagram.
Definitely drop it. Yeah, you gotta let them know.
Yeah, Verge's, it's just Verge, Verges, life at Instagram.com, or just at Instagram. And then on Spotify, it's just my first and last name. So Francis Verges. And you can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Spotify. You can find me on Apple Music. Pretty much all the major streaming platforms. I'm on all of that. So go tap into the album, leave a comment in the bottom, let me know what you thought about it, you know what I'm saying? And I just appreciate this life, man. And like I said, I just want to live. That's it. I'm happy with just living. So anytime that people like yourself give their time to listen to my story, man, I greatly appreciate that.
Hey, the pleasure's been all mine, fam. You're welcome, but the pleasure's been all mine. And the community's gonna, the community is gonna just, I think, really appreciate, the is it the perception? Is it just the perspective?
Yeah.
I think that people are really gonna appreciate this perspective that you brought, because it's an important one. It's something different that people aren't. Sometimes you got to step out of your comfort zone, especially when you're in an area that's I'm not saying everybody's in a comfort zone around here. I'm just saying it's a lot of people that won't step out of themselves and see things from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And so that's very important. So thank you for bringing that to the community, fam. I appreciate you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you for your time, because this is the most expensive thing we have. So thank you for sharing your time. I greatly appreciate it.
Hey, you're welcome. Thank you, fam.
Yeah.
Hey, have a good evening, Verge.
Yeah, you too.